Here's Goodnight Olive making her move to take the lead by a head around the far turn. Race Kane has nearly 10 lengths to make up. So does Scooby Guando, verifying the leader. Top of the stretch, Tapit Trice is coming onto the outside. Up to the mark is running late behind Master of the Seas. Set piece down the center of the course. Master of the Seas alongside Annapolis. Here's Elusive Princess coming after Maj, and Mission of Joy tries to find room between that pair. Maj has the lead. Mission of Joy second. Elusive Princess third. The champ in front. Goodnight Olive chased all the way. Tapit Trice! Tapit Trice wins the Toyota Bluegrass.
Welcome in, everyone, to the Keeneland Look Ahead podcast for Sunday, October the 13th. I'm Jeremy Plonk from Horse Player Now. Friends and family night tonight. I'm sure it's going to be a smaller crowd than we're used to. 3 SEC games going on right now, including the Big Blue Wildcats going at it against Vanderbilt right now. I believe the end of the first quarter. Only 13 points right now on the board in 3 of the SEC games that are going live right now. So maybe this will be more exciting than the offensive output than we're seeing on the gridiron today. My Sooners did not put up any points, but a field goal earlier in the day against Texas. So it hasn't been a good day for the sports fans. I've had a bad week. The Phillies got knocked out of the National League playoffs, and the Sooners got rocked today. So it's a good week playing the horses, though, and we've had another good day handicapping today. 4 winners on top, including our best bet of the day for the second day in a row. Best bet coming in today, a real nice payoff there, $11 on My Little Punky. We said that horse coming out of a key race at Churchill Downs rolled today. Rolled like a horse should have been 6-5, not 9-2. So nice price there. 4 winners puts us up to 32% on top for the meet, and pretty much right almost even on the ROI after a $24 plus mutual day today. So pretty good day at the windows. Hopefully you did well. And in the feature race today, what a performance, huh? I mean, She Feels Pretty looked absolutely awesome in winning the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup. Sharita Vo's barn is going so good right now. We'll talk about her and what she's got on this Sunday card in just a moment. Another hot trainer to watch. We'll talk about him coming up for the Sunday card. But before we do that, let's take a look back at today's big performance. I'm not quite sure where she's going next. The Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf would come back really quick. The Breeders' Cup Mile would come back quick. But She Feels Pretty looks like she is going to be an absolute star next year at 4. She was fabulous today.
She Feels Pretty, third to the inside. Pounce is a wide fourth to the turn. And then Soprano, who's fifth between horses, just over 3 lengths from the front. Pin Up Betty comes next, followed by Grayosh. As they round the far turn, Buku still far back toward the rail. Candala has a lot of running to do. Nearly 10 from the front. Quarter mile to go. Caitlin, her greatness, the leader. She Feels Pretty. Swings off the rail and comes at her now from the second position. Soprano is still third. Oversubscribed, then Pin Up Betty. She Feels Pretty has the lead in the final furlong of the Queen Elizabeth II Challenge Cup presented by Dixiana. It is all She Feels Pretty. John Velasquez, a dominating performance.
No doubt she had a great trip there, but I'm not sure if she got stuck in rush hour traffic. It would have mattered much the way she finished up there. She feels pretty awesome today. 2 wins on the card for Junior Alvarado, the rider. He was really the only one to put up multiples in terms of jockeys or trainers today. So nice day for Junior Alvarado. Super High Five in the last race had the carryover. It was hit on Saturday. $29,000 for the dollar Super High Five. Nice payoff there. And in the pick six, the $1 pick six paid $20,000 today. So no carryover going into the Sunday card. We'll start fresh with all that as we get set for the Sunday racing. We said about Sharita Vo and having that nice winner there with She Feels Pretty. Her meet has gone sensational. 10 starters at the meet, 4 wins, a second and a third. She's really kind of been the talk of the standings, I think, amongst the trainers here so far in the meet. She's just had a fabulous start to things. Brad Cox has got a couple more wins, but he's got more starters and he's got a lot more bullets to play with. But Sharita Vo at 10-4-1-1 in our record right now. You can't argue against that. And another trainer who's doing just as well, 10-4-1-0 to his ledger, is Rudolph Brisset. He's had an excellent meet so far. So both of those trainers have 2 starters on the card today. We'll see each in what I think race 10 for race 3 and race 7 for Brisset. And then for Sharita Vo, her starters today on Sunday will come up in races 4 and 8. So each have 2 on the card. We'll talk about their horses as we get through the individuals on the program in just a moment. Keeneland Turf Pick 3 coming up on Sunday is going to feature couple of my top plays. In fact, all three of my key plays come up in the Turf Pick 3 on Sunday. So as we get a snapshot of the card and look at this 9-race program, the Turf Pick 3 will be races 4, 6, and 8, including the Franklin Stakes. We'll get an in-depth look at the Franklin a little bit later. Tom Leach was out getting some interviews of connections for horses that are running in the Franklin Stakes for turf sprinters. We're going to hear from jockeys Flavian Pratt and Irad Ortiz in their mounts coming up later on the podcast. So stick around for that. Now, the pick 5s will overlap. We do get a swing race in race number 5 on a 9-race card. That means race number 5 is going to be the end of the early pick 5, and it'll start the late pick 5. So do a little extra handicapping if you're a pick 5 player, obviously, on race number 5, and try to drill that down where you can. And that will certainly help in your ticket construction on both of those sequences. Of course, race number 5 also gets you into that final payoff leg of the early pick 4. So a lot moving and shaking through race number 5. I've got my key plays all around it, though, in races 4, 6, and 8. No carryover in the pick 6, as we mentioned, and no carryover in the Toyota Super High 5. Let's go to race number 1 on this Sunday card. We'll get going at 1.16 miles. These are restricted maiden special weights, horses who sold for $50,000 or less, or do not meet the reserve, or are homebreds. So this is essentially a race that many of these are coming out of restricted races. So not a lot in terms of class switches for these horses. Good Temper, the one, my top choice in here, is coming out of a restricted maiden special at Churchill, running against similar kind of company. And you'll see that R in the past performances for these restricted sales horses. A lot of them in this race are coming out of those races. A couple are making the drop from an open maiden special. Good Temper, my top choice. Also top picking here for Tom Leach. Good Temper, second choice for Gabby. Mez California, the 2, also gets a couple top notches in here. I've got Mez California picked second in here for trainer Kenny McPeak. Boy, it's been a struggle for McPeak. He's 0 for 14 at the meet. Mike Maker's 0 for 17. To see Maker and McPeak at 0 for 31 7 days into the meet, a real surprise here during a fall meet at Keeneland. Maybe Mez California can get McPeak over the top. I've got that one in there as my second choice. Queen of the Deck, one for Scott in there that he's got on the island. He is 15 to 1, or she is 15 to 1 in the morning line, coming in from Colonial Downs, moving turf to dirt. So check out tomorrow's 11:30 a.m. Preview show today at Keeneland, as Scott and Gabby will go through the card, and I'm sure he'll make a good case why he likes that 15 to 1 shot. But I like that when I'm on an island, so I'm sure Scott feels good about his top pick in there. Queen in the Deck, perhaps getting a nice price, 15 to 1 in the morning line. Let's move to the second race on the card, from the early pick 5 opener in the first to the early pick 4 starting in race number 2. Second on the card is a 6 furlong non-winners at 2 lifetime. You like to find in these non-winners at 2 lifetime races the horse who has the best maiden win on their resume. And sometimes that win will go back a ways. Well, we're kind of stretching it here with number 1 Headline Report in race number 2. No doubt that this 5-year-old has the best win on the resume, a maiden special weight right here at Keeneland. The problem was it came in April of 2021, and we haven't seen this horse since April of 23. So a year and a half on the sidelines. It's been 3.5 years since that victory. And even so, this is a $500,000 Gormley gelding who Wesley Ward brings back and gets John Velasquez to ride. It is just a difficult assessment on what we're going to get out of Headline Report. If Headline Report came back with a lesser jockey, I wouldn't be interested in the horse. But the fact that John Velasquez is willing to ride, I know he rides a lot for Ward, and you could say loyalty, right? But John Velasquez is of the age and of the Hall of Fame credentials that if there's something really wrong with this horse and coming back and just has no shot, I can't imagine he would take the mount. So I'm just going to assume, because when I look at this, I've got Bad Bunch with 2 underlines written at the top of my past performances. None of these horses look very good. There's not much to kind of love and embrace here. So in race number 2, I ended up going with the one in here. Headline Report, I'm just going to kind of hold my nose and go with this one. Nobody else is using Headline Report. It's Wesley Ward and John Velasquez. I get it. I just don't know where else to go in here. Maybe it's the 9, Rafua. Rafua is a horse who goes for David Jacobson. Another one making just a big class drop here out of a 50,000 starter, going down all the way to the non-winners at 220. I mean, maybe this horse is okay, but it hasn't run since July, hasn't won a race since December of last year. So gone on 10, 11 months since winning a race, and that was against New York breds at Aqueduct. So Rafua could win, but 1 for 27 lifetime. with 14 second-place finishes. That's why I put the horse second. I mean, probably the most likely form in this race to potentially win. Lend it to Toomey, the 11, maybe a horse that you would consider in here, coming off a 16,000 non-winners of 2, similar kind of race at Churchill. Ran second at 8-1, but you're also taking a horse who's 1 for 21. So, the 10's 1 for 23, the 9's 1 for 27, the 11's 1 for 21. So look, the one Headline Reports only run 6 times, has had more layoffs than starts, but I don't know what to do with race number 2. I don't have a strong opinion on it. If you look across the way, some top picks in here for the 1, the 4, the 5, and the 9. 5 handicappers going 4 different directions. All I can say is if you're looking at the multi-race wagers, is start with race number 2, or if you're trying to get through race number 2, use as many as you can. I mean, 1, 9, 5, 11, I've got marked as the most likely win contenders out of this group, and just try to get through it. I really don't have any recommendation of betting this race intra-race, so we'll save our money for somewhere else. Look, you spend the same budget, right? If you got $90 to play over 9 races, don't bet $10 on all 9 races. Skip this race and you got 20 to play on another race instead of playing 10. And you'll get to the end of the day, you'll still spend the same amount of budget, but you'll put your money where your strongest opinions are. My strong opinions do not include race number 2. Maybe yours do. And if you do, dive in. If you found something to latch onto in that race, you're going to have an edge over a lot of the public because they probably won't. We've got some good plays coming up later, right? We've got the turf races with races 4, 6, and 8 as our key plays on the card. So we don't need to blow budget early in the day. And when we get to race number 3 and we turn the page next up, we've got a field of 5 in here where it's difficult to separate them. So this may not be a great betting race either. You start off, make a play in the opener, spread in the second, try to get through the third if you're playing the pick 5, and then try to hone in on some of these other races as we get a little deeper into the card. Third race, again, a field of 5 in here. Chad Brown's got 2. It'll be interesting if he keeps both in the race. I'm assuming he will because he's got Jose Ortiz named on one. He's got Tyler Gaffalione on the other. So, with 2 money riders on your horse there, I would imagine that he'll let both run in here. Sheeta Beauty, the 2, is the morning line favorite at 8-5. She's by Practical Jokes. She's never run at Keeneland, but the Practical Jokes love this track. I would suspect she's going to run well over the race course here at Keeneland. But Sheeta Beauty is trying to do it at 7 furlongs on a track that really hasn't played the closers. So she's going to be coming from far off the pace in here. I ended up picking her 3rd in this race. There's a typo there in the graphic. It should be 1, 4, and 2. The 4 Royal Spa is going to be my second choice in this particular race. Royal Spa, trained by Rudy Brissett. We told you how well his horses are running at the meet. 10 starters, 4 wins already in a second for Brissett. And this horse was a winner over the course Royal Spa during the spring meet. But I thought the 1 Tough Street was the faster of the 2 Chad Browns. Sheeta Beauty's the more accomplished for sure. But in terms of tactical pace, I thought the 1 would get the edge on the 2. And the 2's going to be coming from too far out of it for my liking to win on top. So I've got it 1, 4, and 2. But Speedy Traveler, the 3, could go wire to wire in here, would be no surprise. The 5 Unsung Melody looks like one who doesn't like to pass horses, and I don't think the 5's going to get the lead. So if there's one I don't like in race number 3, it'd be the 5, and none of the other handicappers went to the 5 in here either. So 1, 2, and 3, some sort of combination kind of gets you through with a lot of the handicappers. Scott's got the 4 Royal Spa on top. Again, my second choice in here should be 1, 4, and 2. I'll get that fixed up on the website after we finish the podcast here. But 1, 4, 2 for me, and I would try to get through this race with the 1 and 4 in the multi-race wagers. So, in the opener, I feel good about Good Temper. Second race, spread out. Third race, I think we can narrow this baby down a little bit and just go too deep with the 1 and the 4. Now, let's move to my first key play of the day. It comes up in race number 4, next on the card. And I'm going to the 4 in this race, Starry Night, as we start the turf pick 3 and the pick 6 gets underway. Reminder, no carryover in the pick 6. Race number 4 on the card, Starry Night, my top choice. And as I look across, nobody else has Starry Night on top. I love it. We're on the island, 6-1 in the morning line. Justify on the turf. I love the Justifies on the grass here. And this horse has the 2 sprints to a route form cycle that I like. Woodbine, Kentucky Downs, couple different type turf courses, both with a really long run home. I think this horse stretching out in distance is going to love the extra ground. Irad Ortiz takes them out for Kevin Attard, a very top-notch, high-quality trainer from Woodbine. We don't get a lot of Kevin Attard horses here during the Keeneland meet, but he's got some good ones north of the border. I think Starry Night with a good post position in here probably won't show any speed, even stretching out sprint the route, but that's fine. Should be able to save a little bit of ground. The 3 serving time, I think you want to keep an eye on. Again, the Cherie DeVoe barn running so well right now. That one had some trouble in the debut. Not listed in my top 3. I think there were some other options in there, but I would definitely use the 3 in the exotics and in some consideration. Scott's got the 3 on top. 4, 7, 11 for me, the 7 necessity. Blinkers on for Norm Cassie. This is a good third place finisher in the debut at Kentucky Downs. Another one who probably will the extra distance won't hurt anybody. The Into Mischief on the damn side of the pedigree, maybe a little concerned this horse actually wants to run the 2 turns. I like the Into Mischiefs around 1 a little bit better, but certainly plenty of stamina on top by Constitution. So necessities in that mix, and I just think might come up a little bit short, where the 4 I know is going to love the trip in here. So I'm on the 4 Starry Night. The 11 Just Ruthless is another long shot that you want to consider. 20-1 in the morning line. Bullet works in the morning. Destin Heath's not a trainer who's going to take any money here, but he does get Brian Hernandez to ride. Another justified. And if this filly likes the course here at Keeneland, like we suspect that they will, then that Turfway Bullet workout and the pedigree might be enough to make you use this horse at 20-1 in the morning line. So 4, 7, 11, and 3. I love the 4 in here, Starry Night. So I'm going to be playing the 4 on the win end for sure at 6-1. And then I'm going to play my exotics using the 7, 11, and 3 underneath. So exactus 4 over 7, 11, 3. We'll back it up smaller with 7, 11, 3 over the 4. If the 4 happens to run second. And then if you're looking at trifectas, you could just do the key 4 over the 3, 7, 11, or you can look at, throwing all in one of the spots if you want to try to get another price horse in there. But with the 11, Just Ruthless possibly in there, that's already kind of covering that large price option. So that's how I see race number 4, my first key play of the day. And I'm going to go all in on Starry Night in this particular spot. Like this horse quite a bit on the card, and just going to single when we look at that $3 Keeneland Turf Pick 3, pretty focused ticket for me on the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. Again, that will be races 4, 6, and 8. Pick 5 race, the swing race, is race number 5. First 5 end here. The last 5 begin here. Race number 5 is a $16,000 claimer going 2 turns, mile and a 16th here. Some of the lower level claimers that we see at Keeneland, I ended up going with number 3 in here, Cool Rags, my top choice, but a tepid top choice. I think this is a race that you want to spread a bit in. Cool Rags, the only one picking that runner on top, so I think we'll get all of the 8-1. Luan Machado rides. He's struggling. He is not having a good meet statistically. And I mentioned yesterday about a horse that I had that got a bad ride for us with Cassie. It was Luan Machado riding. I'm not here to bash jockeys, but that was not a good ride. And the horse galloped out 3 lengths in front. Well beyond what they pay for. But Machado, obviously we hope that, we'll get a good ride on this particular horse. A winner 2 starts back, going that elbow start, pseudo 1-turn mile at Ellis Park. I like those horses going a mile and a 16th. Throw the last race out on the turf, and this horse's dirt form, I think, is pretty competitive. All the synthetic and turf races on this horse's resume are poor, but the dirt races are inconsistent, but some of them are good enough to play here. And at a price, I think we've got a chance at here, but not a strong opinion. I wish I had a stronger opinion, this being a swing leg in the early and late pick 5. The 11 Proven Hope is 12-1 in the morning line. Connections won for us earlier this week. Jose D'Angelo and Irad Ortiz. This is a horse who was at Saratoga. Claimed last time out off a 9% barn. Eddie Barker now goes to D'Angelo as a trainer who wins strongly with these kind of claiming type horses. I would suspect that Proven Hope is going to improve first time off the claim and should fit well here around 2 turns at a mile and a 16. So definitely want to be using the 11 in here. The 7 Gilmore, big class dropper, just a tremendous class drop. This horse has been grade 2, grade 3 stakes, third to Mr. Prospector, second in the Mr. Prospector in December of 23 last year. Now offered for $16,000. It's Mike Maker who's really struggling. So, Gilmore, just if this horse wasn't making such a big class drop, I'd say just completely forget about him, but could fit in this particular race. I'm not wild about him, though. I'm going to try to get through this race with the 3 and the 11. And if I can pull that off, I feel, a little bit better. I don't want to get too deep in this race because I don't feel good about the options. And you guys know this. I usually say it's like, you you want to spread in a race that has a lot of good options, not a race that has terrible options. So for me, I think in this race, I'm going to try to get by with the 3 and the 11 in here and see how it shakes out. Let's look at the other handicappers quick before we move off of race number 5. Maybe they've got a little bit more opinion here. It looks like that's not the case, right? The 2's got a top choice, the 3, the 5, the 6, and the 7. So 5 of us are going 5 different directions in race number 5, which is part of all the pick 5s. 5s are wild. Maybe you can get yourself a price in here. Just not a lot of glue and cohesion amongst handicappers and trying to figure this race out. But I thought Cool Rags has run some races good enough to win this one. And when you're trying to get a price, you want to be forgiving and have good reasons and excuses for why a horse may have run poorly. And again, that last race on the turf, let's throw that one out and go back to the form that was pretty solid. So Cool Rags for me, Proven Hope the other in there, 3 and 11. We'll try to get by race number 5. To the 6th we go. I said we've got some better opinions on the card. This is one of them, race number 6. Mile and a half, second level allowance race here. And look, it's been a really good meet so far for the connections, Brendan Walsh and Tyler Gaffleone, and I think they've got one who's just ready to roll back through another victory. Let's go here to our top choice, Queen Regent in race number 6. I'm surprised I'm the only one that's got her on top. She's 9-2, coming off a win at Kentucky Downs last time with no pace in the race, 48 and change. I mean, that's walking the way they went fast at Kentucky Downs this year. Closers didn't have a lot of luck at Kentucky Downs, so ran against the bias, didn't get any pace help, and still got up to win last out. Now should be a more fair race over a more fair turf course, and I think Queen Regent's a stone colder in here. I don't think she's getting beat in race number 9 over the mile and a half. She ran mile and a quarter races overseas, mile and a half. She's bred to go the distance. That's not a concern. So Queen Regent for me in race number 6, the 9, a major key play in here. A lot of folks have Queen Regent second or third with respect, but not pegged on top. Let's see. The other horses picked on top in here, Broadway Boogie the 10, who I've got in there as my third choice for trainer Jimmy Toner, a horse who usually gets, in the mix over the last 4 starts, but not over the top with the victories, usually close up and right in the race. Holy Foley, the 7's an interesting one in here because the horse ran well at a mile and a half over the turf here at Keeneland in the spring meet, winning a very similar race to this one. John Velasquez rides for Brian Lynch. Lynch, of course, already won the mile and a half Sycamore Stakes earlier this week. So he's getting him ready to go the 12 furlongs. And this one's got Dynaformer in the pedigree. Point of entry is the grandsire Dynaformer. Holy Foley, the 7 we're talking about here, the grandson of Dynaformer. Used to be back in the day, if a horse was sired by Dynaformer, I'd blindly bet them going a mile and a half on the turf here at Keeneland. They all ran well over it. You don't see Dynaformers in the first line of the pedigree anymore, but this one, a grandson of Dynaformer, Holy Foley. And again, already a winner at a mile and a half on the turf here. So it's not just a pedigree play. This horse then took that pedigree and showed that she could win over this trip back in the spring meet. So the 7 and the 9 are the 2 keys in here. I'll be against Broadway Boogie in terms of the win end because the horse is, kind of propensity to just not quite finish in the stretch. So 9-7, a very strong play for me in this particular race as one of my key plays of the day. Keeneland Turf Pick 3, I'd play more combinations with the 9 on top and also some combinations with the 7 winning this race because we're singled in the first leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. And we've got another, just a couple deep in the 8th race when we get to that race to talk about for the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. So 9 and 7 used in this race for sure. Use the 9 more. Anything on the 9, 2-1 or more, a very solid win bet in this particular spot. And Exacta's 9-7, heavier, smaller, 7-9 on the backup in race number 6. Let's move on now to the 7th on the card. No new wager starting here. And with the final pick 3 on the card opening here, reminder that we do have rolling pick 3s on every race at Keeneland at the meet, and also the rolling daily doubles with the low takeouts. The daily doubles key plays you want to keep an eye on up and down the card here at Keeneland. 7th race, not a tremendous opinion in this spot. There are a couple different horses I think who have a chance to win it. I did take number 2, Anywho, on top. Coming out of races in Southern California that were simply better than the other ones in here. John Sadler trains the daughter of Bolt Doro. He goes to Christian Torres. Torres has kind of had a slumpy meet too. Luan Machado and Torres, 2 of the jocks who are like one for a big number at the meet. And I've got them picked each on top once on Sunday. So maybe their fortunes will turn. But Christian Torres riding for Sadler in this spot. The reason I took this filly, she's coming off of 2 races in a row against Sweet Azteca, who up until about a week ago was going to be a solid favorite in the Breeders' Cup Filly Mare Turf. She got beat in her last race when they tried to cram another prep in before the Breeders' Cup in the Chillingworth at Santa Anita, which I'm not sure why they did that. But if you run third beaten 7 to Sweet Azteca, you're going to be competitive in this allowance race here over 6.5. So I took Anywho, but I don't feel extremely confident that she has to win this spot. Mystic Pleasure, the 7 for Rudolph Brisset, coming out of the Twix Stakes at Laurel, the Groupie Doll at Ellis Park. She's run against some decent company, and she hasn't been here at Keeneland yet, but she's the daughter of Good Magic. The sire does well here, of course, as a grandson of Curlin. She'll also like the track. So Mystic Pleasure has some pedigree for it. And again, Rudy Brisset's horses, 10 starters at the meet coming into Sunday, 4 wins and a second. So 7, Mystic Pleasure has to be used. The 4, Uppercase is another one who's run against Mystic Pleasure. Only got beat 2 lengths against that one. If you like the 7, the 4 is not far off. So another one that you can consider in there. And the horse has 1 start here at Keeneland that wasn't so good, pressed the pace and faded over 7/8 of a mile. So not sure if Uppercase handles the track here at Keeneland very well, but that was just a one-off, and we don't have a lot of sample size to look at to know that one either does or doesn't like it here at Keeneland. The 3, Pistol, comes off a win last time out. Also has a win over the track here at Keeneland, going back a ways. I believe it was a maiden claiming race back in 22 or 23 when this horse broke its maiden. So Pistol has one here at Keeneland. It wasn't a big race, but it was the only time that he was here, or she was here, and she was a winner, the daughter of Gunrunner. 2, 7, 4, 3, all horses you can make a case for. Probably the 2 and the 7, the ones that if you had to narrow your ticket down here in race number 7, that I'd be most interested in limiting. Anywho's the top pick for 3 handicappers. Mystic Pleasure, also a top pick for Gabby Gaudette in here. Scott's going with the 3 Pistols. So a lot of the horses I mentioned, 2, 7, 4, 3 should get you through here for sure. But if you got to narrow it down, maybe 2 and 7, but I'm not wild about betting the 2 Anywho at 2 to 1. This is another race where I might look at a daily double because we like race number 6. So maybe a double from the 9 Queen Regent into this race, but the math doesn't really work well for a daily double races 6 to 7 because you've got a big field size in race number 6 and the field size isn't as big in race number 7. So really you want to attack exactas and tries in race number 6 and not the daily double. Let the math work for you and let the losing tickets pay the winners as it works out in parimutuel betting. So if you like the 9 Queen Regent like I do in race number 6, I wouldn't be running up to go betting doubles from races 6 to 7. I'd rather play an exacta or a try there in race number 6 with Holy Foley, Broadway Boogie, those horses in the 6th race. So let's go from race number 7 now and turn the page to race number 8. It's one of our key plays of the day. It's the final leg of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3, and it's the featured Franklin Stakes. Turf sprinters here, fillies and mares, and a capacity field entered. Up to 12 will run, and then we'll have the 4 also eligibles. So from BG Warrior, the 13 out, they're going to need a scratch in order to draw into the field. What a star-studded group we have in this race. Star of Mystery coming off a quick call stakes win at Saratoga. You've got Roses for Deborah, who's just an outstanding mare, won the Giants Causeway here during the spring. She's coming off a win in the Presque Isle Masters, a race that's been a good race prepping towards the Franklin Stakes over the years. A couple fillies have come out of that to win this turf sprint off the synthetic at Presque Isle. Future is Now's a multiple stakes winner. Horse won the Intercontinental at Saratoga back in June with Paco Lopez, one of the top turf sprint jockeys in all of racing. He's on that one. Irad, an outstanding turf jockey, sprint jockey here at Keeneland, is on Roses for Deborah. So a lot to like between those two, and those are the 2 that I'm going to put my focus on. But before we give you all the picks for this race, we do have the riders for the 1 Star of Mystery, Flavian Pratt and Irad Ortiz, who rides Roses for Deborah, who were interviewed in the paddock earlier this week with Tom Leach, talking about their mounts in the Franklin Stakes. Let's go first to Flavian Pratt, jockey of Star of Mystery.
Flavian Pratt is on Star of Mystery in the Franklin Stakes. Tell me about the race last time, what impressed you so much and what improvement you saw from the previous run.
Yeah, I thought she adapted very well to the race here in North America, and she showed plenty of speed, and she was a bit of a handful the first time she came to Saratoga, and she's been much better last time, and hopefully she can run a good race just as she did in Saratoga.
What impressed you most about what she did that day?
Well, she's quick. I mean, she has good speed and show a good turn of foot as well.
All right, from Flavian Pratt, let's go to Irad Ortiz, the rider of Roses for Deborah.
Brad Ortiz has been the regular rider for a while now on Roses for Deborah. She won back here in the spring very impressively in that last race on the synthetic. Did she feel as good as she did back in the spring?
She did. Last time she showed up like she always does, but that was impressive last time. The way she kicked home, I was so nice. Long time I don't feel a kick from her like that one, like that day, and hopefully she's back in form and she can do everything she used to do years ago. So
What impressed you most about that race on this turf course back in the spring?
I mean the way she beat those kind of horses that day. There was some nice feelings on that race, and she keep coming home. Last April when I hit her, I remember she re-brake, and that was nice. I mean, so I think she liked this track, so hopefully we in good shape with her.
Does she feel as good to you as she did at her peak last year when she was
Yes,
rolling?
yeah, she did. Last time she was amazing. She was really nice.
As far as any preference for a type of turf, it's going to be firm most likely.
It would be nice for her. She don't one time very soft part. She don't like it, so hopefully she like the turf course over here.
What's her most impressive quality?
From her,
Yeah.
I mean the way she finished. She can go fast and she can be close, and she still finish like she give you a good kick home or all the way to the wire from the quarter pole. That's some nice horses can do that, and she can do it.
And that's what you felt under your last time?
Yes.
So thanks to Tom, to Flavian, and to Irad for the interviews tonight on the podcast, the Franklin Stakes. Big field turf sprint. You know, I love post 3, 4, and 5 in these races, the big statistical edge that they have. The one rarely wins, and the 1 and the 2 have one of the worst percentages out there for full field turf sprints like this. Now, I will say the stats that we love, that 3, 4, 5 power post, definitely more pronounced statistically, even more so with the allowance horses than when we talk about these stakes races. But sometimes the stakes horses are just good enough to win from anywhere. You remember a lot of these 12-hole winners for Wesley Ward, Bound for Nowhere, horses like that, winning from out in the middle of the track. But a good horse can overcome those sort of things, and the allowance ranks, it's definitely more pronounced. But if you're going to tell me I've got a good horse, and Roses for Deborah and Future Is Now are both very, very good turf sprinters, and you're going to give me a power post, and you're going to give me the 2 probably best turf sprint jockeys in this race, if not the entire country, then that's who I'm going with. I'm not going to get creative here in race number 8. 3 and 5 for me, 5 and 3. How do you want to slice it? I think Roses for Deborah is a little bit classier filly than Future Is Now, but Future Is Now is a little faster than she is. So Roses for Deborah is going to need the trip and will be finishing, but Future Is Now will probably be in front of her for much of the journey. I think the 5 leads, the 3 comes and gets her, and it's a 3-5 exacta, 5-3 backup. But I'm going too deep here in the multi-race wagers. I'm going too deep in terms of the Keeneland Turf Pick 3. But my key play of the day, strong exacta box in here, 3 and 5. Pretty equal weight. If you wanted to go a little harder on the 3 on top, say, if you're paying $10, $6 is one way, $4 the other. I wouldn't argue with that versus the straight $5 box. But Roses for Deborah, I put a little more weight on than Future Is Now, but it's like a 60-40 situation. I think they both have a major chance in here. Star Mystery, top pick by everybody else in this race. She got such a huge number last time, and I get it. It was a 107 buyer. I mean, it was unbelievably fast, a minute and 4/5 for 5.5. She was coming out of the Japer in the prior race against Cogburn, a race that set the world record. So she's running 2 extremely fast races, but she's going to be buried down inside, and she doesn't break that fast. If she doesn't get the trip, she could be in trouble in this particular race. So I'm against Star of Mystery in here. She's 3-2. I'm going to do everything I can to beat her. They're going to have to keep her hemmed in. She's going to have to get in some trouble. But I think there are 2 really, really good options who have a more favorable post position. So give me the 3 Roses for Deborah. The 5 Future Is Now. And I'm going to stand against the 3-2 favorite that everybody else has on top. I have a ton of respect for Star of Mystery. But you could also see turf sprints are hard to keep running big races over and over and over again. Usually there's a regression or a bounce, if you want to use that term sometimes. So look, 2 massive efforts in a row by Star of Mystery. Will she regress? At least she's had some time since July. Charlie Appleby has given her a little break until coming back in this particular spot. But I'm going to try to beat her. If Star of Mystery was out in the 3, 4, 5 and one of the other fillies was buried inside, I'd be talking a different tune here. I think it's about trip, and that's what you're handicapping a lot of times in these turf sprints. Great horses can overcome tough post positions, and if she's great, and she might be great enough to do it, then Star of Mystery could still win. But at 3-2 in the morning line, the difference in prices with those other horses, to me, just far more interesting. So I'm going 3-5 heavy, 5-3, those two in the 8th and featured race. All right, let's go to the 9th and final. It'll be the Toyota Super High 5 race here. 6 furlongs, mid-level, $40,000 claimers in this particular spot. It's going to wrap up all the multi-race wagers for the day. I almost went to number 9 background as one of my key plays in here. 10-1 in the morning line. I think we're going to get a nice price. Gabby's also got that one on top, but nobody else has background listed. This is a horse claimed for $32,000 last time out at Churchill by Steve Asmussen. He claimed for himself. He keeps a lot of claiming horses in his barn, so he's the owner-trainer here. And he took this horse off of trainer Mike Puich, who's only hitting 5% on the year, 3 for 63 according to DRF. So if he moves up at all, this horse, off of the Puich barn, which wasn't going well, it could be, enough to get the victory. This horse was a close second last time at Churchill. We'll see. Keith Asmussen will ride for his dad, trying to get his first win of the Keeneland meet. Steve's had a win already at the meet in the sprint ranks. Of course, he won the stakes race with Zeitlos in the Thoroughbred Club of America. So I'm on the 9 background, as is Gabby. We'll see. Will we get the 10-1 morning line? Perhaps. The only reason I didn't make this horse one of my key plays is I like the other horses better, with more weight on my opinion. Like those others are like 8-10 opinions. This horse is like a 6-7 on a scale of 1 to 10. But background is a great price. So when you look at some of those others that aren't as big a price, you want to get something on background in this race. But I thought there were other good options in this race too. I thought the 2, the 1, the 7, the 4. I've got 5 horses in here that if I'm playing multi-race wagers and ending in here, I want to go 5 deep to feel confident. 9, 2, 1, 7, 4 across the way. But background's my top pick in here. I like when a trainer like Asmussen like that, who claims keeps them for himself, move up off a barn that had been struggling prior. And this horse has a good race over the track for 62.5. Background ran a good third on the lead, going a route. Now back in the sprints, this horse has been sprinting of late. So background for me in race number 9, going to be my top pick. As for the others, as we mentioned, Gabby's also on the 9. Harrodsburg, the 2, makes a lot of sense. Like I said, 9, 2, 1, 7, 4 for me. That covers Chat-A-Lot, the horse that Tom's got in here as well. So Chat-A-Lot, we'll try to get Mike Maker off the schneid. We talked about Maker's struggles at the meet. This one was claimed last time for 62.5 and now entered back for 40,000 off the bench from Saratoga. So Maker's dropping some horses big time in class on the Sunday card. Maybe he'll turn it around by just kind of finding races where his horses fit a little easier here than they have over the first 6-7 days of the meet. That's going to wrap up the podcast for tonight. 9 races up, 9 races down. Hopefully we have another 4-win day or higher. We'll try to sweep the card if we can. That's always the optimistic approach, but we'll see how that turns out after race number 1. Good temper will be the first signpost on being able to sweep the card in race number 1 tomorrow. So we'll start it out with the 1 and the 1, and we've got actually the 1 picked on top the first 3 races tomorrow. So let's hope aces are wild on Sunday at Keeneland. I'll give you my preview and daily double plays tomorrow morning on social media, so be sure to check that out at Keeneland Racing on X and at Horseplayer Now. Scott and Gabby will be along at 11:30 a.m. Eastern. All the scratches, changes, updates for the card and the Today at Keeneland show, so be sure to watch that on the simulcast feed. And if you'd like to get my information sent to your email inbox tomorrow after scratches, I update all my picks with my final thoughts. We send that out by email right after scratches come out. It takes me about 20-30 minutes to adjust usually, and then we send it out. Sign up at Substack. It's free, jeremyplonk.substack.com, and I'll send that directly to your email inbox. Not only information about Keeneland, but other big races around the country and Breeders' Cup to come and the Triple Crown season next year. So sign up to Substack and get all that for free. Have a great night, everybody. If you're rooting for the Wildcats, I think last score check here, 7-7 against Vanderbilt. So got that on the other monitor. Good luck to the Cats and all their fans out there tonight. Hope it goes well for you in college football. And you can celebrate a victory tomorrow with a couple winners at Keeneland. Have a great night, everybody.